All right, let me jump on here real quick and double check everything. Let's see. We'll roll the show out in about 2 minutes.
Sure. How you doing with the energy today?
I'm doing really good. I had a really powerful day yesterday. Well, really, I think it started last night. I think it started about 6 p.m. I did a show Hawaii time, which was midnight New York time. And I noticed during that show, I noticed something happened, and we had something happen with one of our friends, really kind of a tragedy.
Oh, wow.
So we spent some time last night, 4 of us, just talking, and there's a lot of channeling going on. It was very powerful. It was very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I think today it's just continued. We've had some good shows. I know this one's going to be good. The third one today. We got another one after this. So yeah, something's happening.
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling the energy. It was really intense all day today.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got 18 people in the house. How's everybody doing? These shows resonate with you, please share so we can stay above the algorithms on Facebook. And thank you for your continued love, support, and contributions that keep us going by the seat of our pants every day. Which I love to use that connotation because that's kind of what we're all doing, isn't it? We're operating by the seat of our pants in this transition. Let me just share this out to the network. A few of the affiliate groups. All right. And hello, Aaron Lee, Heather Nilsson, Mary Cooper, Susan Lanuette, Marilyn Ashley Biggers, and her beautiful Nora, Ivania down in Tasmania, Terry Willette, Simone Boytz, who's coming on soon, Marie Iverson's back, Jan Forrest, long time no see, Brendan RB, Mary Rakowski, Silver Lambert, and Jenny Jones. Hi, Jenny. I haven't seen you in a while. Delia Flores. Welcome, everybody. We've got another exciting show, third one of the day. Soul Speaks 5D. I'm Todd Medina. If you're new to this, I see some new faces. This is the Soulogy.One network, where we offer a platform for people to share their skills and abilities and their stories, which I believe is the highest activation, channelings, and downloads we can get from each other. And we've seen plenty of evidence over 1,000 shows that could very well be true. Today we've got Cheryl Corcione. She is been a health coach since 2014. Big focus on the microbiome. Biome. We're going to find out what that is. Co-authored a young children's book, Meet Your Microbiome.
That's right.
I want to find out what that is. Your superheroes within. Started working with an amazing chronic illness expert, Dr. Jess Armine, in September 2016. Then in November of that year, I learned chronic Lyme had expressed in you, which caught you by surprise. How does a health coach doing all the right things end up with a chronic disease? At that time, she was suffering with debilitating anxiety, depression, insomnia, and supported her body holistically and started feeling better. However, the healing only went so far. I'm going to go ahead and lead in with that because it sounds like it's a very important part of your journey, and Absolutely. I would imagine we're going to be talking about it. So, is it related to a level of waking up, this having contracted Lyme disease, and your way out of it?
Yeah, it was actually a gift. I didn't see it that way at first, of course, because of how I was suffering. I mean, I was at the point where each day, just to get through it, it was very, very difficult. And my kids kind of kept me, really getting through each day, just knowing I had to be there for them. But every day it just felt like over and over the Groundhog Day, where it's like, okay, here's the anxiety again, not going to be able to sleep at night. So it was just like this whole domino effect that happened. And it definitely wasn't a place that people want to be in, for sure.
So you were a health coach. Now, were you utilizing traditional methods, or were you using holistic methods prior to the Lyme disease scenario?
All holistic. So that was really my passion, was to really help people, incorporate holistic foods into their diet, help them, maybe go outside and be in nature, find ways to really relax, things like that. But there was really a heavy focus primarily on the nutritional part of it.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're trained as a health coach, they do also focus mind, body, and spirit. But I really didn't see the big picture of that until I started working with patients with chronic illness. And until I experienced it myself, then I started seeing the really big picture and how the emotional aspect really plays a big part in chronic illness.
And you said that the healing, the holistic healing, even, I think is what you said in that bio, only went so far. What happened after that?
Yeah, so holistically, I was taking nutritional supplements to help support my immune system. That's considered foundational support. And when you're in that state, it is really important to support your physical body just so your immune system has the support. And Dr. Armine did a really excellent job, making those recommendations for me. So I did get the relief that was needed, but there was something still I felt not quite right. I still had episodes of anxiety, and I just kind of felt that there was a part of me who really didn't want to be on supplements for the rest of my life. That part I just couldn't understand. So it was like I had this inner knowing that there was still something more that I needed to resolve. So I started seeking, other modalities in addition to the physical support. So I started exploring acupuncture, which was really, really helpful. And then from there, I was kind of led into Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had my very first Reiki session, to me, my goal at that point was just to find something to help relieve that additional anxiety that I was still experiencing. I didn't know much about what Reiki was, but my intent was, okay, let me just get some more relief. And that experience was just so eye-opening. So when the practitioner had put her hands over my chakras, my lower chakras, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all these suppressed emotions just came out of me. And I was just so blown away. And I had gotten some great relief from that. And that's when I started realizing that that was a big part of why I ended up with chronic illness. It had a lot to do with all these emotions that I just kept inside my entire life.
Wow.
I mean, in our society, most people were never taught how to fully feel emotions.
Yeah.
We're usually talked out of them, where, as children, get over it, suck it up. Don't be a baby. You shouldn't feel that way, right? And then, we're not taught how to really fully process our emotions.
Yeah.
And then, of course, kids are coming into this world with an emotional backpack.
Yeah.
So, now, in addition to emotions that our ancestors have not fully processed, the kids coming into the world with that burden. And then on top of that, they're not being taught how to fully feel their emotions. So there's this whole domino effect going on. And then you wonder why suicide rates and mental illness is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So I kind of refer to it, or use the analogy, as a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Right. So a pressure cooker, it starts building all this pressure. And that's what all these suppressed emotions are doing in the body. Your body is using tons of energy, keeping these emotions in the body, just like a pressure cooker, where it just wants to explode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did now in your repertoire of modalities and techniques or maintenance, maybe is probably another word, I would imagine, that you incorporate certain things, like you did the supplements for the time until it didn't serve you anymore. What about inner work, shadow work? Is there a link to that? you know, in terms of what stays in your body and what's released?
Well, yeah. So this is what really led me into doing inner work, because after I had my first Reiki session, I really started then wanting to learn as much as I could about the relationship of suppressed emotions. And we were going through a really, really bad financial hardship. And that was kind of also, one of the things that was like the tipping point, that also contributed. And there was no way that I could afford going to a Reiki practitioner, weekly, every day. So I ended up finding a course that popped up on my Facebook feed for Udemy. For $10, you can get attuned to Reiki. And just like you say, like when you have that intention set, it's like you're walking around with a shopping cart.
Yeah.
Everything start falling in. I mean, that's basically what happened. Like all of a sudden here, I'm on Facebook and this thing pops up showing that I can get attuned for Reiki for $10. So I said, well, what do I have to lose? And when I got attuned to Reiki, that was a big part of my awakening, because of course, there was this remembrance that had taken place, but at the same time, it really brought to the surface all my shadow. And I didn't understand what was going on at the time. It was just all of a sudden I started experiencing a big contrast of all these polarities within me. It just started exposing everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a Reiki master in person to kind of guide me through this. So initially I was just kind of on my own. And then I just started connecting with other people, on Facebook who've kind of been through this. And then little by little, it kind of had me dive, deeper into the inner work, or shadow work, as, a lot of people end up calling it.
Yeah, the holy darkness.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes. And let me tell you, once I started doing that, it really was very transformative and liberating. Yes. And that's what.
Mm-hmm. And you said that these polarities started to play out. You referenced inside of you, so maybe in that dialogue, but were they also playing out in front of you?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't realize that, the intense anxiety that I was feeling, of course, was part of that polarity. Yeah. And, things I was experiencing with other people, all the triggers.
Yeah.
Right. So
coming and going. The ones coming at you and the ones coming from you, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Is it so what's it like now for you? I mean, I want to backtrack in a minute, but so what's it like now for you? I mean, on an individual level, having had the journey that you've had, is it easier to see polarities? Do you have to go look for them? How do you treat the triggers coming at you and coming from you now? How do you deal with them?
Right now, I pretty much embrace them, because I understand what the gift that they are. Yeah. And of course, sometimes it's still uncomfortable to go through them. Yeah. And sometimes I don't want to go through them.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes you think after all the inner work that you did, you're not going to have anymore.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, something happens and, you're in the midst of it. And then you just learn how to be the calm and the chaos and just surf the waves as you're right in the midst of it. And that's what's really empowering, to be able to do that and not to feel like you're a victim to everything that you're experiencing.
Yeah. That it's not a burden. And that we can multitask too, like you said. I mean, that we can actually ride these waves and be experiencing these things when a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, 6 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
I think I checked out there for a second. So what is your practitionership? What does it evolve to now? Are you still considering yourself a health coach? What do you offer? What do you do?
Yes. So that whole thing evolved on its own. So, and that's what's so beautiful about it too, because I wouldn't have been able to put together such an amazing service for people had not I had gone through what I did. So now I consider myself like a transformational health coach, I guess, transformational healing,
Yeah.
pretty much, because even for people that are experiencing chronic illness, they already done all the nutritional stuff. So they don't need anyone trying to help them with nutrition.
Yeah.
So most people that have experienced chronic illness, the common thread is that they have unresolved traumas that they're holding on to, that they've experienced in their life, or we're seeing the relationship with all the suppressed emotions just kind of adding to it, because again, your body is using so much energy keeping that now this is less energy going to the immune system, less energy going to your vital organs and nervous system.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you start dissolving all these suppressed emotions and the triggers, that actually immediately starts freeing up that energy. So then that energy can return back to nourishing your body and back to the immune system. I mean, that's how I fully healed, is by doing the inner work,
Yeah.
because that just freed up all this energy that I was holding on to. And now I'm really resilient.
Yeah. And how did you do that? How did you dissolve those things, and how do you do it now? I mean, do you have a particular process you use, or processes?
Yeah, so at first it was really learning how to meditate properly, because a lot of times people just don't know how to meditate properly, or maybe they're using guided meditations. And that's great and everything for relaxation. But like if you want to really experiencing deep healing, it's really important to learn how to meditate properly. So once I learned how to do that, and you get to the point of where your breath slows down slow enough where it's a zero state, you're in that vibration of the unified field. So anything that is not matching that frequency starts to integrate all on its own. So any suppressed emotions that you're not even aware of just automatically starts bubbling to the surface. And that's why some people have a hard time initially, even with meditating, because they're experiencing resistance right away and the discomfort, and they don't know what it is, and then they don't want to continue.
Wow. Brilliant explanation. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And do the suppressed emotions or traumas or events or whatever it is, do they always reveal themselves, or can they integrate, I guess, unconsciously to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're doing meditation, I mean, you're slowing down your brain waves, so you're just allowing everything just to kind of come to the surface on its own. And then you're also reconnecting with your body. And again, that's something that we were never taught to.
Yeah.
In our society, there's so much fear put on our bodies, right? So people panic when they start feeling things happening, and right away, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. We need to fix it. And then, of course, it's all about battling disease, fighting illness. And on a subconscious level, with that, you're basically giving the body the message that there's a battle, and it immediately goes into fight or flight. So if your body thinks it's fighting something, then it can't be healing at the same time. So starting to have that understanding and teaching people that, it's really about reconnecting with your body's innate wisdom, giving your body the love and attention that it needs, so then it can feel safe and then go back into that healing state.
And so have you seen an evolution in your clientele? I mean, that maybe what I'm saying is maybe evidence even of the collective energies that have been made available and that are coming to the earth. I mean, have you seen growth, I guess, in your clients over the last few months?
Well, yeah. So these clients that we work with, they have not gone through their spiritual awakening yet. So these would be the beginning stages of it, whether or not they realize it. Chronic illness is the catalyst for spiritual awakening. It's going through illness, suffering, pain. It's all the portal for transformation.
Yeah.
So I'm getting those people at those beginning stages. And then, of course, when people do a session with me, again, they're freeing up that energy, they're getting that relief, they're learning how to now on their own to be able to access their suppressed emotions and be the calm in the chaos. Because one thing, and as you know, we're at a point where it's not about having to be dependent on other people, you know, to heal us. It's about taking our power back.
Yeah.
Being empowered. I mean, we have the tools within us, all the wisdom is there. It's now about teaching and empowering other people how they can access that within themselves.
Yeah. Now, did you have I mean, you had the Lyme disease, I understand that, but I mean, was there something that leveled you up, or that was the impetus, or was that it? I mean, that leveled you up to I guess, an expanded awareness?
Well, it's just doing all the inner work that I started getting the awareness. I mean, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, like some people have go into a Buddha state, or, you know, Kundalini experience, or, you know, something where you're like, oh my God, I'm definitely beating at a higher level now. It's,
Well, yeah, I mean, it was just initially with the Reiki when I started experiencing, you know, the remembrance. That
yeah,
was just like really amazing. And to feel that inner bliss, you know, I started getting hints of that. And
yeah,
then when I learned how to meditate properly, I saw that I didn't even need Reiki to do that. It was really, again, just turning inwards, and we can experience those states
yeah,
just by deep meditation, doing that properly, and then, you know, now doing the inner work. But initially, when I started the inner work as well, I still didn't understand how to fully feel my emotions authentically. You know, so I was accessing my suppressed emotions, I was integrating them, but I still wasn't properly feeling my emotions, you know, on a day-to-day basis. So that
right.
was like another part of the piece of the puzzle, you
Mm,
know, learning how to allow ourselves to feel. So when we feel like jealousy come up, allowing ourselves to fully feel jealousy and not judge ourselves for feeling that way.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I grew up thinking anger was bad, and I never wanted to be the angry person.
yeah,
All right, but now I teach people that anger, all emotions are okay. You know, we that's what we, you know, we feel all emotions. You can't just feel one and not the other. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to project them out on the other people, or you're going to really learn how to allow yourself to feel it properly,
and,
right?
and yeah, and how would you do that? Would you do that just being with yourself in solitude, and allowing it to fully feel it throughout your whole
Well,
body?
yeah, doing both. I mean, if you can learn how to master it, like while you're actually experiencing it,
Mm,
that is like really golden.
yeah,
But in the beginning, sometimes people might have a hard time doing that. But, you know, so say you're in the midst of, you know, you're with someone, and all of a sudden it could be your spouse or anyone, you have this anger really building up, and you're ready to lash back out at this person. So what you really want to do is to immediately put the focus back on what's on inside you.
mm,
Okay, so that's then taking it off the other person and feeling into different sensations, because again, it's the sensations that are causing us to react.
mm,
So
yeah,
it's having that awareness. So when we feel, you know, the emotion, it's immediately dropping fully in the body and feeling where these sensations are, and being fully present to them, allowing it without judging it.
yeah.
That's
So
really powerful.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. So if you had to give like a synopsis or a summary, or somebody walks in the door for a first time, uh, medium level of awareness, maybe, you know, nothing too extreme one way or the other. What would the prescription be? I mean, like a general one. You know, would it include the nutrition, exercise, meditation? I mean, what's the basics, I guess, that you support?
Yeah, I don't even focus on nutrition anymore, because it really truly is my belief that the emotional and mental has more of an impact
Yeah,
on someone's health and the nutritional part of it. So I have them learn how to meditate properly. That's a big one. If they can really do that, they can start seeing things accelerate for them. Learning how to feel through their emotions in every single moment, being really present and deliberate, having that mindfulness where you're really deliberate about everything that you do. It's so important to be in the present moment, because in our society, again, it's constantly planning for the future, doing, and we're not in that present moment, and we're just kind of on autopilot. And when you're on autopilot, you're so disconnected from everything, and you're not in that healing state. So when you become deliberately mindful and have the presence, with your breathing, that immediately changes everything. And there's a lot of, breaking the cycle with that. So it's like retraining or building muscles.
Yeah.
Because our natural state is to be in this healing state and to be fully present. That's how we were as children.
Yeah.
Until we were taken out of that state. So now it's a matter of having people go back to that state as when they were young children, being in that fully present state, being fully healing 24/7. So it does take a lot of commitment, initially. Okay, because you are going to run into where the mind wants to get in the way and that resistance. So it's really important to, have someone at your side in the beginning to really help them move through all that.
Yeah. And you've mentioned several times proper meditation. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah. So again, it's not really doing a guided meditation. So it's really just, being with your breath.
Yeah.
Okay. So slowing down your breath and then just allowing whatever you're feeling just to come to the surface, any discomfort. So initially when someone tries to meditate, they're going to run into that resistance and all of this stuff is going to come to their head. And it's not about stopping themselves from thinking, because their thoughts will slow down on their own as they're slowing down their breath. So it's just allowing everything. So even if you're having a hard time, easing into it, it's okay. You just have to learn to sit with that and just allow it. And the more you practice with that, the easier it gets. So it's learning how to be in that stillness. And I prefer to actually lie down flat on my back, because when you're lying flat on your back, you're sending the message to your body that you're in a state of surrender. So it also allows another level of relaxation.
And what about, I'm just curious with you, everybody's different. In those states, do you find yourself in other dimensions? Do you communicate with entities, energies, other aspects of you? That type of thing?
I have not experienced that yet. I'm sure it's taking place. I'm kind of new to this. It's only been like 2 years, but I feel like I'm on an accelerated path just because of, my commitment to it. Yeah. And I'm okay with where I'm at, and that's fine.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I hear other people do, and I don't do it. I'm just like, well, I guess I'm not supposed to. Now,
I'll feel like sensations.
Yeah.
So I'm not really too sure what exactly, those, if there's another like presence. Yeah. But I'll feel a lot of sensations because I'm very much in tune now with my energy field and with my body.
Yeah. And energy would seem to be a key word with what you're telling me, your journey. Going from nutritional coach, health coach, to you don't even address the nutrition anymore because you're dealing with energy, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. On a subatomic level, that's what we are. We're pure energy.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really important for people to really have that understanding.
Yeah. Now, do you work with people on a local level, or do you work online, or both?
Oh, I do all of that. And because I'm really passionate about this topic, because here's the thing too, after I went through my journey and I started, accessing my suppressed emotions and learning how to feel my emotions, as a parent, I realized that I've been teaching my kids how to suppress their emotions.
Yeah.
So that was like a big wake up call. So I had to like unlearn everything I was taught as a child and relearn how to be a parent all over again. And I'm still learning because it's not easy, when you've been taught a certain way for so many years to now have to relearn.
Yeah. Have the how many kids do you have in the house?
I have four.
Four of them. Okay.
Yes,
Good
my
cat.
oldest is 21 and my youngest is 10.
Yeah. Good Catholic. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So, and what's that been like? Have they noticed the change in parenting? Have they noticed the change in you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I also like to point out to people is our children are our spiritual partners, and they are definitely, just like everyone else, is there a reflection of what we have, our, hurts or inner child wounds. They're all a reflection of that. So,
Mm,
anytime our children trigger us, it's really reflecting what inside us still has to be integrated. My oldest, of course, the older your children are, the less open minded they probably are when it comes to this. And this is what I ran into with my kids. My oldest ones just, they call me, weird, which is fine. I really embrace it. My youngest, my 10-year-old, he was probably about 7 or 8 when I started on this journey. So he is definitely more open minded, and I really think that he is so in tune to, a lot of this, because some of the things that he says is just, really is
yeah.
quite amazing. And I
Yeah.
only recently found out too when, how a lot of people were showing the sparkles in the
Yeah.
hands when the sun was reflecting them. You could see our crystalline light body.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was sitting outside with him one day, just, showing him like, oh, look how magical we are. And he was just like, oh, it's no big deal. I see that all the time. And I says, well, what do you mean you see that all the time? He's like, I always see shimmering sparkles floating all around. So I'm learning that he can see auras, and he
Yeah.
sees,
Yeah.
the shimmering energy all over the place. And he said he thought everyone
Yeah.
can see that way. And I was just like, wow.
No,
But
isn't it?
he had a lot of suppressed emotions and triggers, and I seen like a really big transformation, even with being able to teach him how to liberate himself. Because again, as parents, our children, you want them to be empowered instead of feeling helpless.
Yeah.
So I've taught them how to reconnect with their body and learn how to, be fully present to their triggers when they're feeling them, how to, again, access their suppressed emotions.
Yeah.
So, but again, I have to demonstrate as a parent me doing this, because if I'm not doing this, if I'm not practicing it, then they're not going to follow through with it.
And have you noticed a difference in your household, or even with these children, some who are open-minded are more open-minded and some who are less? Have you noticed a difference in the frequency of your home? And I guess what I'm saying is, as you elevate and expand your awareness, are you seeing any direct relationship with what's happening with them?
Yeah, especially with my oldest. So, with her being the first child, of course, it's always challenging. But I always wanted to have a different relationship with her than, say, I had with my mom, because I grew up in family with 6 kids, strict Catholics, and my mom had a lot of stuff going on. So, and it was in that time where you weren't really nurtured.
Yeah.
And, it was just a lot of, beliefs and stuff. So I didn't want my kids to also, have that same relationship. And as my daughter had gotten older, I couldn't understand why, like, she had closed me off. it was just like when she became a teenager, all of a sudden it was like she shut me out,
Yeah.
and I couldn't understand like what had happened. I'm like, well, you know, I'm having this really great relationship with her, and then all of a sudden she kind of shut me out. And it turned out to be a demonstration of something within me that I did not heal. And I didn't realize that initially. But what turned out was I was still holding on to a lot of resentment towards my mother.
Yeah.
And until I actually resolved all of that, all the hurts and resentments that I had with my mother,
Wow.
that's what she was reflecting.
Wow.
And once I resolved all that with my mother, there was all of a sudden this amazing thawing out that our relationship just kind of changed just like on its own.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just amazing because I mean, I wasn't expecting any of that, and I didn't, you know, see that until, you know, doing all this inner work. It's like, oh my goodness, she was reflecting to me that I was still so resentful towards my relationship with my mother.
Well, that's powerful.
It really is. And that's why it's so important for people to make sure that their relationships with their parents are definitely resolved, because you will probably notice it in your kids if you're having those challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting
It
stuff.
is. And she's also been getting some pretty amazing dreams where she says Jesus would show up in her dreams, and she'll start spinning in her dreams. So I know that all these shifts that I'm doing within me, she's actually energetically experiencing.
Yeah. 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 I've heard that and seen some evidence of that. But it's just interesting hearing it from your perspective, and the way you said this has been going on for like 2 years.
Yes.
And she's the less open-minded one.
Yes. Yeah.
She's the most affected one. So
right. I mean, it's just amazing, and I could see that she's become more and more open-minded to it, even though she doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah. Well, you know, they reach that stage where mom or dad's not cool anymore.
Right. Yeah. But what's amazing is seeing your kids, the younger ones at least, starting to teach their friends. You know, having that ripple effect.
That's it. That's pretty amazing. Right there.
Well, yeah, because again, this reminded me to go to, like, when people experience, you know, aches and pains in their body, you know, how important it is for us to, again, reconnect with innate wisdom and understand that aches and pains that we are experiencing is most likely, you know, suppressed emotions trying to come to the surface. But in our society, we're always taught to try to get rid of the discomfort instead of feeling into it.
Yeah.
So when my kids started coming to me, you know, if they had headaches or stomach aches, in the past, I would have just had them take arnica to help, you know, with the pain. But I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to teach you how you can access the innate intelligence of your body and dissolve the pain. And that's what I started teaching them how to do. So again, that's now, instead of a child feeling helpless, they are so empowered and liberated, knowing that they can just be fully present with their body and learn how to just, you know, feel into any sensations that they're feeling. I mean, that's where the healing is. The healing is within all these sensations.
Yeah. And what about manifestation? What about as you've cleared and expanded your awareness, your ability to heal yourself, you know, and integrate things? Has there been, because you mentioned you went through some severe financial stuff, and many of us have you seen, you know, are you pushing the grocery cart down the aisle and stuff jumping in?
Yeah, so I had to really learn how to see abundance in all areas and not just financially.
Yeah.
Okay, so things have improved for us. I mean, we're still not where we need to be, of course. So things are still tight, but it's still better than it was.
Yeah.
And that's a really good sign for sure. So my husband had recently finally gotten another job. And then, of course, one of my jobs, though, they didn't need me. So I'm trying to find ways to, compensate for that.
Yeah.
So, and it's just every time we go through this, though, it's just, again, getting to that deeper level and becoming more fearless.
Yeah.
Because that's what I noticed is every time something like that comes back into our experience is because there's still something that needs to be resolved.
Yeah.
But each time it gets easier and easier. So when I went through it recently, I did not feel that panic because I knew that, it's happening for a reason, and the universe is always providing in every moment, and just, trusting that.
Yeah.
And being in that state of not knowing, which sometimes it's not easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that. And what about, now you've been married for a while, I guess? Or?
Yes, I kind of lost track, but 20 something years.
Okay. So now let me ask you this. So what's that been like? You're awakening a couple of years ago, and you're obviously sharing this information with your children. So I would imagine you're sharing it with your husband. It's always interests me, people that are in a relationship and one or both are going through this awakening, and how the dynamics, change and so on. Is he into the same stuff you're into?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, well, I've talked to quite a few people like that, and it's interesting. And it's usually the woman that's awake, and he's not. But so how does that work? I mean, is it a live and let be kind of scenario, or does he act like he's not into it, but kind of poke his head in the door every now and then? How does that work?
No, he really isn't. And he's so used to, I guess, with his own suffering, mm-hmm. that he's okay with it. And I had to learn how to be okay with it too, because initially I wanted so bad for him to experience what I experienced.
Yeah.
And then as much as he sees my transformation, it's just not, not there. He's just not ready, I guess. But, I have to surrender to that and just allow that. Maybe that's just not his path, and, be okay with it. But even though his soul chose, this situation, his human ego is definitely having a tantrum about it. So
I think that may have something to do with the false masculine falling away, and to make room for the rising or the new masculine or whatever. But yeah, I think men are going through a lot right now. Mm-hmm. And so he's fortunate, and by design attracted you to his world, and so I would imagine everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of stuff, though, I can see, though, on a soul level, how it definitely brought up so many things within me that I really had to integrate. So
yeah. And I think that's one of the early lessons, as I've observed people, and even myself, I think I was that way. But you have that awakening, or you get into it enough where you want to tell everybody, especially those people closest to you. And, I always make a joke about it, because you see these posts of like, why isn't anyone listening to me? and I think, Heather Nielsen just put up a comment, pretty much sums it up. That does not surprise me, but he is where he is. We need to allow others their own path. And that's a tough thing to do in those circles closest to you.
It is, especially when you start experiencing like the hero scamos.
Yeah. Oh, so, you've been experiencing that.
I have, and I was activated back in November in person, and I didn't know what was going. I mean, I didn't know.
What do you mean? What do you mean in person? What do you mean?
With another person,
I
just had gotten activated, but the energy really didn't integrate right then and there. But I did feel some type of awakening,
Yeah. Yeah.
happen at that moment. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then I started experiencing all these sensations out of nowhere, and I had no idea. So initially I reached out to Grace Solaris because I'm like, Grace, I'm like, can you please give me some insight? I have no idea why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. So she gave me a little insight. She didn't refer to it as the hero's gamos. And then I started seeing your post with Morgan, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I am experiencing.
Yeah.
So that was, again, something that I had to learn how to surrender to and be okay with it, especially in my situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that was kind of freaky. Yeah.
Yes. But at the same time, beautiful and amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's easy for the soul is a little challenging for the human aspect sometimes. And to be in that situation. So yeah, these situations offer these challenges, these circles closest to you, but also, you can, like you say, if you can integrate that, then there's a big reward on the other side of it, which
Yeah.
is which has got to be affecting, just like your oldest. I mean, it's got to be affecting your partner. So.
Absolutely. And it is. And again, I just have to really, just take each moment at a time and just be okay and let things just unfold as they're meant to be without trying to control or change anything.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I know you had interviewed with Michael James. I forgot his last name.
Oh, Michael James Garber. Yeah.
Yeah, that conversation was really, really helpful because he had used one of his clients as an example.
Yeah.
And he had pointed out to just, listen to your heart and not to force the situation. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sounds like the path of the divine feminine to me.
Yeah,
and
it's not easy though.
Oh, I've watched it in motion for 4 years, and but one of the things that I've learned, just in the experience of it, and from her, is she always goes first. There's something about the feminine in this realm going first, establishing the higher ground, and then he comes up. So it's an interesting dance, and we're getting deeper and deeper into it. So how do people find you? And if you are you open to doing online work with people? I mean,
yes, absolutely. So I do help people all over the world. So mostly over the phone because I really want people to be in a really relaxed state.
yeah.
I mean, if they want to, we could do video, but to me, it's important to be as relaxed as possible.
Yeah.
And they could reach me either at CherylCorcione.com, which is probably the easiest one, or, they could even email me. I believe I had given you some of my email addresses.
I think so. Let me see if it's on there. I just want to make sure. Let me see here. I just want to make sure. And I guess it would. Yeah. Let's see. It'd probably be a good idea to, I must have not copied and pasted that part. Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to put the links in the comments. I definitely do.
Because I think it's really important, especially with the intensity of the energies, for people to really, learn how to feel into sensations of their body instead of, panicking. When people have all these ascension symptoms, right, they go into panic mode.
Yeah.
When it's really just a matter of learning how to allow them and fully feel into them.
Yeah. Paul Castaneda is asking, how many sessions do you think it would take to see some results?
So someone will see results at a first session, but so depending on each person's situation, that would kind of determine what they're looking for. So when I'm working with someone with chronic illness or mental illness or chronic pain, I really do suggest, I'm rolling out a new program called the Transformational 24/7 Healing Boot Camp.
Mm-hmm.
Because I find that it's important initially for someone to be held accountable for when I give them the tools to follow through with them. And then to have weekly follow-ups with them to do some more inner work, because it's very normal in the beginning to go through resistances. So it's helpful to have someone there to have you move through obstacles and understand like what's going on, and just keep reassuring them and having them trust and work on other subconscious beliefs and perceptions. And as long as the person follows through on the tools that I give them, they're going to really see some shifts taking place pretty quickly.
Very
and again, retraining their nervous system to be in that healing state 24/7. So that's a big part of it too.
And they can find out about this on your site.
Yes. So if they go to the webpage, they'll see more information about it. Excellent. And I also have some helpful videos on there for parents too, because again, that is a big passion of mine, is to really start educating, break the cycle and start teaching our kids, because there's no reason for people to be suffering with mental illness when it's just a matter of teaching our children how to process their emotions and to, reconnect with their bodies.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I appreciate the time. Thank you for sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. I'd like to collaborate again down the road. And I wish you the very best for you and yours. And we'll leave it at that. And thank you. And everybody, please check out on the replay of the live, check out her website. She's got a unique thing going. And if it resonates with you, let's support and the equal energy exchange and keep on moving to a higher ground.
Todd, it's been an honor and privilege to really be doing this with you. So much gratitude to you and Morgan as well, and to everyone who, was on this conversation with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You take care.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.